All right, good morning to everyone. I'm going to do a new video on, sorry, I'm multitasking here. Doing Ricky Wysocki this morning, the Goat Hill coverage, which has become like my favorite, I think it's my favorite tournament of the year because it's kind of a bomber fest, so it is very fun to watch. And it has multiple different kinds of bomber shots, though. It's not just like when they play out in the desert and it's Hyzer, 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 Hyzer. I mean, these are distance shots and low shots, high shots. But I mean, these guys are throwing 550 to over 600 feet. I saw Anthony Borelli throw over 600 feet flat. I mean, that's just insane. The other thing I like about this coverage is they give the radar gun numbers, and Brody Smith was throwing he threw one 76 miles an hour. I mean, that is legit. I have to apologize to Brody Smith. I thought he was going to be a joke. He is not a joke. He is a player, and he has some serious talent. He's a great putter, too. He can hurl it. I mean, 76 is, you know, that's elite speed. I mean, that's top 5 dudes kind of speed. Okay, so I have 3 different views of Ricky Wysocki. So, and they're all in super slow motion. And you'll have to forgive me as I kind of work the buttons. But I'm hoping to look at all the different views.
Using his natural athleticism, you know, and
turn that off. Interestingly, the best slow motions are all in the intros and the outros. So I did one on Paige Pierce where it was this back view, and it was very educational. You can see a lot of how his legs are working and his lower body's working from this view. So we have that view. We have the disc down the line with the disc pivot view, which is awesome. We'll get to that. And then we have a front view. Which just gives us another view of his body action. Oops, went the wrong way. Okay. So they're closely trimmed, so capturing the video and zooming back and forth and rewinding back and forth are kind of difficult. I'm going to start with the disc pivot one. Also, I wanted to say there is a video that Dave Dunapace did recently, which is like pivot, pop, and something. I don't remember what it's called. But Dave essentially goes through exactly all the different pieces that I've kind of found, and I like to think I've been teaching. And I did start down that path due to Dave Dunapace, but between myself and Blake and I do think that I've been on the right track. So I will give myself that credit, and that is a great video. Try to go catch it. Dave Dunapace is the wellspring of almost everything disc golf, including instruction, and I would never take anything away from Dave. I mean, he was a distance champion when I was, you know, in junior high. And of course, he's designed every disc, and everybody's just copied all these discs, and that's my opinion. He's basically invented disc golf as we know it. So his description of snap is a combination of a disc pivot, and a bearing down on the disc, and definitely talks about a pivot point. We're going to see that right here. Okay, so here we go. I want to show you Ricky doing the disc pivot, which is a combination of a curl in, okay, It is a curl in, and it is a disc pivot that actually ends with the grip lock. So you can clearly see it. He has it up in his fingers. He's got the power grip. He's got his thumb lock. But you can clearly see it does not pop out of his fingers all at once. It goes, there is back finger popped, more fingers popped, and all he's holding on right there is the pivot point. And at this point, you see the disc pass his hand. The disc is not trapped behind his hand. It is being expelled, and the last thing that holds on to the disc is his thumb lock, right here. So people ask me, how does the 2-finger drill work into the power grip? This is it. This is the 2-finger drill that starts from a curled in power grip. So he curls it in. It's straight. Now it's starting to curl. I can put a curl on it. Now as he starts back, it starts outward. It curls even more, simply due to centripetal force. And he's holding on. He's got the disc trapped behind his wrist. But what he's wanting to do is fling it out away from his hand. So herein, again, this is not a pull. It's not a pulling motion. He is throwing it out from his center, clearly. And this is the throw out to 10 o'clock that we see over and over and over again. And he also went from, here's something to watch. So he set his Hyzer angle with his arm angle. Here's his Hyzer angle. The Hyzer is not set by the nose. So right here it's a little nose up. But what he's going to do is reverse it. So he's going to flip the back of the disc upward and down into nose down. So here we go. Watch the back of the disc. Yep. See how it went from down, slightly nose up. If you were to say this is relative to the target, this will be slightly nose up, and then bam. There's a little, I know it looks subtle, but it's not subtle. That is nose down, neutral to his arm angle. I mean, this is a video in itself. I mean, it's just, he just absolutely smashes his throw out. And in fact, he's throwing out harder than anybody right now. I mean, he's doing a lot of work. And he's probably picked up 50 feet in the last 2 years. So he's working the disc straight into his chest. You see the chest is tracking. Not to mention the fact that you can clearly see he's right here on this butt cheek. And he's firing this butt cheek into rotation. That is the source of the speed. But that's nose up to nose down. Or you could say neutral, but whatever you want to call it. The last motion is to flip the back of the disc up, just a tweak. There it is. And then let's watch where his thumb goes. His thumb is not rotating this way. If anything, it's rotating this way. Let's watch. His thumb at that point, his wrist, if anything, is turned this way. This way. It's certainly not turning under and creating like a scoopy beach frisbee throw. It's the opposite of that. It is the thumb is very vertical. The wrist is, if anything, would be, I guess the word would be pronated. It's rotated. His elbow would be low. You can't see it. And that is a nose down Hyzer. But you can see this is what I would call his like natural. He's got his natural bend, this nice athletic bend. His arm is straight out. His elbow is, look at this angle. It's like 90 degrees to his spine. The disc leaves his arm 90 degrees right through the center of his arm. And the only way that can be accomplished is this disc has to be pivoted out and away from his arm actively. That is an active pivot. In fact, I'm going to say it again. Ricky throws with almost all pivot. He's a super pivoter. There it is. I mean, that disc goes from, I'm going to put the cursor right here. And it goes from, this is the lock point. So this back of this disc goes from here out to here. Let's watch. Oh, out to here. There you go. That's how you can make the disc go faster than your hand, because you create an arc of the disc that actually is beyond the arm itself. You know what? This is already at 12 minutes. It's so good. I'm just going to make this one video right here, and then I'm going to do another video on his body. But this just captures it so well. And see, his swing line is actually to nose down. So he throws so hard, he gets lift. So he would probably be fighting lift on a nose down, on any of his discs, because he's throwing 72 miles an hour. So there might be a little bit more high to low in his swing, of course, because of the lift, but you certainly don't have to do that. But I think that's just Ricky's. He does all his work from about here. It's actually from about here. But you can see he's working the disc to nose down. Most of my students that have a scoop are actually working it scooped and then rolling their thumb backwards, which creates a nose up. He's throwing crazy nose down and letting the disc hyzer flip. That's a nose down hyzer flip. And you can see he's maintained his vertical thumb all the way out to here. He's not dropped his thumb under, and his elbow is not way up in the air through release. That's another point. His elbow is low to his chest. Here, let's go back and look at that. There you go. Here's his chest. Here's his elbow. It's not way up here through release. Watch where it goes. Down and under. Down and under. And here it pops back out. See how it's rotated under? Elbow low, staying low. Kevin Jones does that too. You can see his fingers flying open there. But I think for years people have been talking about getting your elbow high through the throw. That's actually the opposite of what the good players do. All right, I'm going to end it there. And I will make this one video because it's 14.5 minutes long. And then I will come back and make another Ricky Wysocki video. Thanks again. Join my Patreon for lessons. I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you want to come get a lesson, get in contact with me. And join the Facebook Spin and Throw group, Spin and Throw Disc Golf. Hope you all have a great morning. Catch you later.